After a long weekend of mad dashes to emergency rooms, we're grateful today at this moment that while we sat in the well of that courtroom and we heard that judge say, "I am remanding this perp," getting remanded because he violated parole. The DA articulated how dangerous a person that he is. Collared time and time again. Trips upstate to state prison. Guns, weapons, machine guns. That's the type of person that was walking our street. So we're grateful this judge knew how serious this is and remanded him to make sure he does not stand on the corners on our Bronx streets. But we cannot sit idly by now. We have to follow this case to make sure we get justice, to make sure this mutt stays behind bars for the rest of his life. Why? Because he's a cop killer. He did not succeed because of the skill of our police officers. He didn't try it just once. He tried it on the streets when he tried to assassinate 2 police officers. He then barged into a station house, and God knows how many he would have killed if his weapon did not jam and those police officers were not so alert, recognizing that a killer was walking the streets. And the worst happened. At the hospital yesterday, we spoke about how many of our elected officials and politicians rushed to the hospital to stand and bow their heads and shake their heads how terrible this is, but aren't supporting us on a regular basis, aren't saying and doing the things that need to be done, aren't passing the laws that help us do the job, that keep us all safe. And you know what was missing here today? Those same elected officials who could have stood in this hallway with our police officers to make sure there's justice, to send a message that they as elected officials think evil should be behind bars. But don't wait too long for them to show up, because they won't. They won't be here. They won't be here because they'd have to stand up, take a position, and say cop killers cannot walk our streets, because if you'll kill a police officer, you'll kill anyone. These police officers that sat in that courtroom would have gave up our seats if any of these elected officials had the backbone to say, "Excuse me, can I sit in this courtroom to make sure there's justice?" Well, that question was never asked. Those elected officials never showed. So I have a message for the people of this city. First, we need your help. We need your support. Second, protect yourself. This city is sliding back. No one is helping the police officers do the job that we do every day. No one is helping these police officers bring the city back to where it belongs, where we brought it once before. To our police officers, your heads need to be on a swivel. You need to have each other's backs. You need to have each other's six, as we say. Because we're on our own in many ways. Now, we're optimistic people as police officers, so we're putting out this call for help. We need support. We need support from the citizens, and we need support from our elected officials. It's not too late to correct the mistakes of the past. It's not too late to stand on that soapbox and say, we support police officers. We made a mistake in the past. It's not too late to stand on that soapbox and say, my words against police officers did damage. My words got in the heads of criminals on the street who thought they were safe enough to try to kill police officers. It's not too late to reconsider your words. It's not too late for those elected officials to pump up the citizens of this city with kind words for police officers like they did to those demonstrators that try to tear down what we do. Let's think about what those demonstrators want. They don't want police officers on the street. How absurd is that? They don't want police officers in the subway. Now, all of us live and work and travel in this city. When our citizens get in that subway car, they're nervous because they know they're in a vulnerable place. And when do they feel safe? When they see a uniform of a police officer step onto that subway car. And these demonstrators don't want them there. Let's think of that ridiculous message that those demonstrators are saying. Let's remember back to 2014 when they say, we want to put wings on pigs. And they assassinated 2 police officers. Let's not forget that 4th of July when Mia Sota's familia was assassinated in her borough, in her precinct, protecting her citizens. And let us not forget that over this weekend, police officers may have had to go home, shine their shoes, get in their uniform, and go to a funeral. Let's not forget that image. We hear time and time again, oh, how lucky we were tonight. Well, we cannot rely on luck. We'll do our job because that's what we do. That's what we want to do. We know we have a moral obligation to the people of this city, and we do it every day. Well, our elected officials have an obligation too. Our elected officials should be standing right behind these police officers today, demanding justice, supporting them, giving them what they need to do their job. That's what we need from the city of New York. In this courtroom today, we want to thank our court officers of every rank. They have a difficult job. They wear the shield of a law enforcement officer, so they know the next gun may be pointed at them. But they did this job so professionally in this courtroom to make sure all sides of this equation has their rights protected, that we all are allowed to sit in that courtroom and make sure we see justice. So I want to thank these court officers here for allowing us to come here and be the professionals that we are. But we want to thank them for them being the professionals that they are. But I also give another warning to our corrections officers. Realize that you now have a cop killer coming to your facility. Protect yourself. If you need help, call us. We'll respond, because it seems we're on our own. Questions?
Pat, in court.
Do you agree with the tweet about declaring war on de Blasio?
It's a long way before the elected leaders, the mayor, both sides of City Hall have the support of police officers. Because we went through this before where we said those words are dangerous and will get cops killed. They didn't heed that message. So unfortunately, the message we get from City Hall is we're on our own. We don't want to be on our own. We want to do the job for everybody.
Pat, the DA said in court that Williams, when he was at the hospital Sunday afternoon, said, I'm going to shoot one of you to the officers when I get out. What does that tell you about him?
He cannot be redeemed. He's done it time and time again. But think about what's in that mope's head. He was probably thinking, the law's changed. I'm going to be out this evening. So what did he do? He threatened the police officers. Hey, when I get out, you're a goner. That's what he was saying. But the skill of our detectives in that interrogation room doing the proper techniques on video got him to confess. And now, because he confessed and then he threatened us, this judge had the ammunition to make sure he's ROR'd and back to jail he goes.
Pat, do you think the mayor's words or actions incentivize this kind of behavior?
Yes, it does. And we talked about it way back in 2014. We talked about it when his campaign demonized police officers. So we've been doing this for a number of years. But quite frankly, it doesn't end just there. How many times are we all on the steps of City Hall and the City Council, the Assembly and the Senate are standing on those steps demonizing the women and men of the New York City Police Department? How many times do they call in for the change in the law, the tools that we use to get the job done? And we see it now in the city of New York. The streets are getting dangerous. Cops are getting gunned down. Aren't we back to days when your vehicles are up on blocks, not on their wheels? The signs are there. It's not too late. Reverse courses. Give us the laws and tool we need. We're capable. We'll get the job back. We'll get the neighborhoods back. But we need the help of all the electeds on both sides of City Hall. We believe in forgiveness. We'll forgive you for the dumb things that were said in the past. But we need you to reverse them and reverse them now.
Hey, Pat, do you think judges as of right should have the ability to hold the defendant, whatever defendant, on grounds of dangerousness, as Judge McCormick did today?
Absolutely. You have to look in any situation is the past acts. If time and time again, a perp stands in front of the judge, gets released, and goes out and immediately does the same thing, something's not working. So they need that discretion to say, you're banned to bogeyland. You need to go to jail because we've given you a chance in the past and you blew it. You went and shot some cops. You went and robbed the citizens. You went out and created terror on our streets. They need that discretion, but it goes beyond just the bail reform. It goes back to the words that are being used. It goes back to demonizing police officers. The bail reform just happened to be the last straw, where we have perps actively telling our arresting officers that I will be out before you. And you know what? They're right. They are. Everything is a desk appearance ticket for the most part. How absurd is that? We all work and live in this city. That doesn't work. Reverse course.
But this case wouldn't have been covered. This is a much more serious offense. He would have been eligible.
It goes back all the way to even parole. We have a parole problem. We have a bail problem. Why are people on parole going out in the streets violating that parole and not going behind bars? So it's a multifaceted problem. We need to correct it. We do need criminal justice reform. We need to reverse the reforms that they put in place. They're not working. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate you covering this all-important issues. To our fellow police officers, you're going to go back out now after court, and you're going to get behind the wheel of that radio car. You're going to stand on those subway platforms. You're going to be in our housing complexes. Sometimes you're going to be on the corner by yourselves. Be aware. This is no longer Mayberry. You're in danger. You need to be careful, but more importantly, we need to back each other up. Thanks, guys. Have a safe tour.